I hope everybody is staying warm because we are not in South Texas.
I have heat though. Yay.
Yay.
We're getting snow here in Virginia.
Okay, we just have, I'd rather have snow than just cold.
It's a beautiful 61 degrees here in Southern California.
Nice.
Not to brag.
Right. Let's see, what's the current temperature outside?
Hi, Vanessa.
Earlier it was 21.
Oh,
Yep.
There we go. Hey. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
73 in Orlando. It's overcast though, and there's a cold front tonight. So
73. That sounds nice.
Mine says 21 and it feels like 8.
feels like 8. Oof.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that feels like. I don't think I want to know.
I don't either. I'm staying inside with the heater on.
So I'm in a new spot.
Yeah.
It was kind of messy though. We cleared out our storage room because my youngest son moved out, got his first apartment. So I'm kind of in that room now that all the stuff's in there. Still got to sort through it, but yeah, I'm in my own little space now. I was in the
That's nice.
dining room since like COVID. I was in the dining room table, so kind of nice. Yeah, we'll get it organized. There's a lot of stuff to put away, but yeah, it'll get there.
I know when I was at UT, they gave me a closet, and versus being in a condo with 5, 6 other, I loved it. Yeah, you can get it set up and it's perfect.
Yeah, I got a little desk. Did y'all know the company called Bombay Company? They sell smaller type furniture. It used to be in the mall. I don't know where they are now. But anyway, I got a used Bombay desk. It's beautiful, Victorian. It was $100. So Marketplace. It's nice, small, pretty. Yeah, I'm happy.
Nice.
Matt's going to give you all sorts of tips on how to slowly tackle reorganizing.
Oh, cool.
Is that one of your resolutions?
No. It's just been a slow process. He moved out, and this company we were with renting a storage room, every month it was $20, $30, $40 every month. And got up to $400. And I went, I'm not doing this. We go to it twice a year, get Christmas stuff out and put stuff back. So it was time. So I got rid of a bunch. This is just what's left. And some of
that's pretty good.
Yeah, some of it's from my kids growing up. So I have a hard time parting with some of that. But
we're doing the same.
Yeah,
we're doing the same, downsizing the units and then going through things. And yes.
Yeah. So we're getting there. And I guess I don't want to touch anything that they may want. I want them to make that decision. If you want this, great. If you don't, let's go. So yeah, I'm kind of waiting for them to make some decisions. But yeah, it's been good. I love this little space.
Yeah.
So we don't have a real big turnout. Haley's here. Dwayne's here. Yeah.
All the cool people are here.
Sorry, y'all. I had my camera off because I was getting my port D access from my infusion.
Nah.
No worries.
All right.
I was going to mention something to you guys that kind of broke my heart the other day. One of the moms, Pompey mom, her little boy just had his 200th infusion, which is crazy. He's like 4 or 5. It's like, dang, his numbers are almost up with mine. But he had a little celebration for him. So he said, Mom, is this the last infusion? I know, right? And she was crying, and she's like, no.
Oh.
At this point, I know. Is that a heartbreaker? I won't share it with y'all in case you haven't seen it. But yeah.
Yeah, she shared that with us at World.
Oh, did she? Yeah.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking.
I guess next time you say it's your 400th, we're going to celebrate that you've been on for 400 infusions. Yay! And here's the 400 more.
Yeah, another little girl.
Bless his heart. Yeah.
Another mom answered her and said, yeah, her daughter asked the other day, Mommy, did you cry when they would access your port when you were a little girl? She said same thing. She was crying. And sorry, I didn't mean to bring y'all down. I just wanted to share.
No, no.
It's very real. I think Kaylee and I would say that you get to the point where it's just part of life, right?
Mhm.
David,
Oh,
He's so
Right.
cute.
So big.
I know.
All right, so if everybody's ready, I'm gonna go ahead and get us officially started. So, Matt Zimmerman is hosting this episode of Talking with Your Pompeii Peeps, and the topic is Kaizen, your New Year's resolutions, small steps, big success. Matt Zimmerman has been a performer since childhood, an avid theater kid and circus fan. He studied theater at Texas A&M in Corpus Christi and ensemble-based physical theater at Dell'Arte International in Blue Lake, California. He moved to Los Angeles in 2011, where he has been working as a performer at Universal Studios Hollywood since then. He joined the AMDA as the Director of IT and Communications in January of 2022. And he loves the work the AMDA is doing. And we're very happy to have him. And with that, I'm turning it over to Matt.
Hi, everybody. Again, thank you, Tiffany. I am Matt Zimmerman, and let's get started. I'm going to do a very quick, well, it's not super quick presentation about Kaizen, which, if for those of you that do not know, Kaizen is a Japanese business philosophy about taking small steps to create big change. Is anyone familiar with Kaizen? If not, it's okay. You're about to be very familiar with it, and we're going to adapt it to basically we're going to adapt it to self-improvement and keeping your New Year's resolutions. So what is Kaizen? Kaizen is Japanese. It's a Japanese philosophy, and it is Japanese for change for the better or improvement. And it is a philosophy of continuous improvement, and it focuses on small incremental changes over time, and it improves efficiency, productivity, and quality. And this is just an overview of the business philosophy, and we'll get later into how we're going to adapt it into our personal lives. So just bear with me. This is a lot of information. I'm going to throw it at you very quickly. Your eyes might cross. I'll bring you back in later, but bear with me. So the formal concept, excuse me, the origins of the formal concept, it came around post-World War II Japan in the late 40s, early 50s, but the principles behind Kaizen, mainly the continuous improvement, existed for centuries in Japanese culture. It first came about in Toyota, or from Toyota in the 1940s and 50s, from two people, Taiichi Ono, who was a Toyota engineer, and Shinjio Shingo, and they developed the Toyota Production System, or TPS, in the 50s and late 40s, and it was the earliest structured implementations of Kaizen, and they emphasized reducing waste, which is MUDA, improving efficiency, and empowering their workers to contribute to improvements. So they enabled their line workers to make suggestions to improve their efficiency. Then a gentleman called Masaki Imai wrote a book, and he was a Japanese organizational theorist, and he wrote a book entitled Kaizen, the Key to Japan's Competitive Success, which introduced Kaizen as a structured philosophy. And this book spread Kaizen globally and influenced the lean manufacturing, Six Sigma, and modern business management. Here are the key principles of Kaizen as a business philosophy. The first one is continuous improvement, which is small, consistent improvements leading to significant long-term benefits. The elimination of waste, or MUDA, which identifies and removes inefficiencies in processes. Standardization establishes best practices to ensure consistency. Employee involvement, everyone from executives to workers contribute to improvement. Customer focus enhances value for the customer is a priority. The PDCA cycle, which stands for plan, do, check, and act, which is used for structured problem solving. And then the 5S methodology, which organizes the workplace for efficiency. And the 5 S's are 5 Japanese words that are all S. They all start with S, but the English versions are sort, set in order, shine, standardize, and sustain. Now we're going to look at the PDCA cycle first. And so the PDCA cycle is plan, which plan is you're going to identify and prepare. So you're going to identify the problem or area for improvement, gather data and analyze the current situation, set specific measurable goals for improvement, develop a small-scale action plan, and test a solution. Then you're going to do and implement on a small scale. You're going to execute the plan on a small scale to minimize the risks, collect data on the results. Sorry, I don't know if you heard the ambulance go by. It happens a lot here in LA. You're going to collect the data on the results, and then you're going to observe how that changes the impact or observe how the changes impact the process. You're going to check and evaluate the results, compare the actual results to what you expected to happen. You're going to identify gaps, successes, and areas that need adjustments, and you're going to analyze what worked and what didn't. And then you're going to act, and you're going to standardize and expand. So if it was successful, you're going to implement the change on a larger scale, and you're going to integrate it into standard practice. And if it was unsuccessful, you're going to refine the approach, and you're going to go through the cycle again. You're going to document the lessons learned, and you're going to seek further improvements. So that is the PDCA cycle in a nutshell. Now moving on to the 5S methodology. Here are the 5 S's. The first S is seiri, which is sort or remove the unnecessary. Now, for the example that we're going to use an example of, let's say you wanted to cut back on your caffeine intake as your resolution. So for sort or seiri, you're going to identify and eliminate unnecessary items from your workplace. You're going to only keep what is essential and useful. So for example, if you wanted to cut back on your caffeine intake, you're going to remove extra supplies or your energy drinks from your space, so you're not tempted. The second S is seiton, or set in order, or organize efficiently. You want to arrange items in a logical, easy to access way, designate specific places for each item to improve your workflow. An example for cutting back your caffeine intake would be to keep healthier beverage alternatives like herbal tea, decaf options, or water in an accessible spot. Just making it easier to make better choices. The next S would be saiso, or shine, clean and maintain. And this S is all about maintaining cleanliness and order in your workspace, and regular cleaning and inspect your equipment or tools. This is more about just maintaining an orderly space to keeping dedication to the process. So for example, you would want to keep your coffee making area clean and clutter-free to encourage mindful consumption. The next S would be seiketsu, or standardizing and creating consistency. So you want to establish routines and best practices to maintain organization. You would set guidelines and schedules for maintaining the new system. An example of this you would set a daily caffeine limit and consistently follow it using a tracking system. And the last S would be shitsuke, or sustain, and maintain and improving continuously. And so you would develop self-discipline to stick with the improvements. And you'd regularly review and refine the process to sustain long-term success. An example of this would be monitoring caffeine reduction progress and adjust as needed to maintain the habit. All right, I know that was a lot of information, and that was just basically the Kaizen business philosophy. And now we're going to adapt that into how we can use that in our personal lives to create habits, to stick to our resolutions, and to make our lives better and for self-improvement. And so I've used ChatGPT to create some action plans. And now we're going to look at a basic action plan for habit formation. So I used ChatGPT to form up a 6-step action plan just for a basic habit formation. And this is not This is for any sort of habit that you would want to do. So step one, would be you would choose a habit you'd want to focus on. And so we broke it down into some action steps. So you'd select a habit you'd want to develop. For example, like let's say you want to exercise more, or reading, you want to read some more, or waking up early. And what you'd want to do is you'd want to define a clear and a simple goal. You don't want it to be too broad, like I want to lose weight, or I want to read more. You want to make it as simple and clear as possible. So you would, or like maybe not I want to read more, but like I want to read everything. You just make it as clear as possible. So you want to start with a small version of the habit. So like reading one page instead of reading everything you can get your hands on, or doing one push-up. So for example, Emma would like to start reading daily. So she commits to reading just one paragraph each night before bed. And here we have a picture of Emma going to town on a book right before she goes to sleep. Good job, Emma. Now, step two, you're going to anchor this habit, your new habit, to an existing routine that you already do without even thinking about it. So your action steps, you're going to pair the new habit with something you already do daily. For example, after you brush your teeth or before you drink your coffee. So you're going to use reminders like sticky notes or phone alarms or a habit tracking app. So our example here is John does 5 squats every morning right after he brushes his teeth. Step 3, make the habit easy and rewarding. And our action steps are reduce friction by preparing in advance. So if you're wanting to work out more, if you're going to work out in the morning, the night before, you would lay your workout clothes out so that when you wake up, you don't have to worry about doing that. They're already there. And they're a reminder when you get up that, hey, I'm going to work out this morning. Or keep a book by your bedside. And you're going to reward yourself with small positive reinforcements like a check mark and a habit tracker if that works for you, or a small treat if you are, treat motivated. And our example here is that Sarah wants to drink more water, so she places a water bottle on her desk and rewards herself with a favorite tea after meeting her daily goal. Step 4, track progress and adjust gradually. Our action steps are use a journal or app to track consistency, adjust difficulty gradually. And this is important. So you don't want to start out at the top of the mountain. You want to take baby steps. That's the biggest thing about Kaizen is it's small steps to make like big change. So you are going to adjust the difficulty gradually. So you're going to increase from reading one paragraph to one page, then to one chapter. And you're going to reflect weekly on what is working and make small improvements. So Mike starts meditating for 1 minute a day and increases it by 30 seconds each week. Step 5, overcome challenges and stay flexible. Accept occasional setbacks and restart without guilt. This is very, very important, especially with New Year's resolutions, because this is right around the time when most people have thrown their resolutions to the curb and have just said, you know what, I failed this year, we'll try again next year. And that is, unfortunately, that is the habit that sticks with most people. And if you want to be successful, this is the time where you have to pick them back up, dust them off, and get back to work. So you want to modify the habits to fit the different situations that you're trying to make. So you want to do shorter workout if the time is limited instead of just not working out. And you want to seek support from friends and family or online communities. You need to build that support group. So our example here is that Lisa misses a day of journaling, but instead of quitting, she's going to write a shorter entry the next day so that she stays on track. Step 6, reflect and maintain. So it's important to celebrate your milestones. So 1 week, 1 month of consistency. Keep the habit sustainable by integrating it into daily life naturally. And consider adding a new habit once the first one feels automatic. After maintaining a daily stretching routine for a month, David adds a 5-minute morning walk to his routine. So it's important to remember that progress, not perfection, is the key when it comes to Kaizen. It's not the destination, it's the journey. I think that's a very important concept here with Kaizen. So that's just a basic example of an action plan on habit formation. But now let's look at if, say, your New Year's resolution is to stick to a budget or get out of debt. I have a little action plan here for budgeting as another example. just to give you a little more idea, and we're going to go through a few other examples of different resolutions that you may have, and how Kaizen can be implemented to use or to stick to those resolutions. So step one for budgeting. So you're going to start small and track expenses. So you're going to begin by tracking income and expenses for a month without making any changes. And you're going to use an app like Mint or YNAB, or a spreadsheet or a notebook. You're going to categorize your expenses like food, rent, entertainment, subscriptions, and savings. So our example is Sarah realizes she spends $120 a month on coffee shop visits. And by switching to homebrewed coffee, she saves $80 a month without completely cutting out her habit. Good job, Sarah. Step two is identifying and eliminating waste, or MUDA. And your action steps here would be identifying unnecessary expenses like unused subscriptions, which we all have, or impulse buys. And then you're going to cancel or reduce one wasteful expense at a time. And you're going to optimize grocery shopping by planning meals and reducing food waste. So our example here is John cancels his $15 a month gym membership that he never uses and instead opts for free home workouts, redirecting those funds to his savings. Step three is set incremental goals. Start with small, achievable savings goals. Remember, start small and work your way up. So you would start with, say, 2% of your income this month, and then work your way up to 3% next month. And you want to automate small transfers into savings and gradually increase your savings without feeling the drastic impact. And our example would be Emma starts by saving $50 a month, and over 6 months, she increases it to $150 without disrupting her lifestyle because she's gotten used to saving $50 a month. So as she's getting used to it, she's paring back more and more of what she's saving. Step four, improve processes gradually. And your action steps are, you're going to review finances weekly instead of waiting until the end of the month. You're going to set up automatic payments to avoid late fees, consolidate bills to a single due date for easier tracking. Our example is Mike schedules all his bill payments for the first of the month, reducing the chances of missed payments and avoiding late fees. And now you're going to standardize, for step five, standardize and make budgeting a habit. For action steps, you're going to establish a fixed time each week to review finances. Choose a simple, repeatable budgeting system like the 50-30-20 rule or an envelope system. And you're going to stick to a consistent spending review routine. And our example is Lisa follows the 50-30-20 rule. She spends 50% on her needs, 30% on her wants, and 20% on her savings. She reviews her budget every Sunday evening, and she stays on track. And the final step in this plan would be getting feedback and adjusting. So you reflect on what's working and what isn't. And you adjust your budget categories slightly based on your real spending patterns, and you increase savings by 1% when possible. So after 3 months, David notices he overspends on dining out. So he reallocates $50 from his entertainment budget to groceries and learns new home-cooked recipes. So a little motivation here. The key is consistency and small, manageable improvements that will then increase over time to make big improvements. All right, and now we have a little plan for quitting smoking. I don't know if we have any smokers in the group, but just if we do, I know smoking is a very hard habit to cut. So here's a little plan if you do smoke. Step one, tracking smoking habits. Our action steps: keep a log of each cigarette you smoke for a week. Note the time, place, and reason for smoking. Identify triggers like stress, social settings, or boredom. Our example is John realizes he smokes most often during work breaks and after meals. He decides to focus on reducing these specific instances first. Step two, reduce gradually. Decrease daily cigarette intake by 1 every few days. Delay the first cigarette of the day by 15 minutes, gradually increasing the delay. Use smaller cigarette portions, like smoking only half of the cigarette. So Lisa, she can cut down from 15 cigarettes a day to 12 in the first 2 weeks by skipping the ones she smokes out of habit rather than craving. Step three, replace smoking with healthier habits. Replace smoking triggers with alternatives like chewing gum, deep breathing, or drinking water. Engage in physical activities like walking or stretching when craving a strike, and then try nicotine replacements if needed, like patches, gum, or lozenges. An example would be Mike drinks a glass of water and takes a short walk every time he feels the urge to smoke after meals. Step 4, modify your environment. Remove cigarettes, lighters, and ashtrays from your home, car, and workplace. Avoid places and situations that encourage smoking, and inform family and friends of your goal for support. Again, support is a big thing, even with Kaizen. Yeah, you need your support system. So an example here, Emma stops buying cigarettes in packs and only carries a limited number, making it harder to smoke on impulse. Step 5, establish a reward system. Set small milestones, 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, smoke-free. Reward yourself for progress, treat yourself to a favorite meal or activity, and then use savings from not buying cigarettes to fund rewards. And the example is after staying smoke-free for 1 month, David uses the money he saved to buy a fitness tracker for a motivation boost. And you want to keep your rewards a positive reward. Notice I didn't say, he uses the money he saved to buy a 6-pack of beer, because that's just replacing one vice for another vice. He uses it for a fitness tracker to, replace it with exercising, which is a positive reinforcement. Step 6, adjust and continue improving. Reflect on challenges and adjust the plan as needed. Learn from slip-ups and continue progressing without guilt, and seek professional help or support groups if needed. And this example is Sophia has a relapse during a stressful week, but instead of giving up, she refocused on stress management techniques and kept moving forward. Small, consistent efforts lead to long-term successes. And now this is one I definitely will be using and could need more of, is an action plan for being more appreciative and mindful in life. And this is something we can all start using today, basically out of the box, this plan here. So step 1 is start with awareness. And you'd start with taking a few moments each day to reflect on what you're grateful for, and notice small positive moments throughout your day, and keep a mental note of things that make you happy or thankful. So Emma realizes she feels happiest enjoying her morning coffee, so she takes an extra moment to appreciate it. In step 2, you keep a gratitude journal. So you'd write down one thing you're grateful for each day, and gradually increase to 3 things per day as it becomes a habit, and be more specific about why you are grateful. And Mike writes, I'm grateful for my friend Sarah, who checked in on me today. Her kindness means a lot. Step 3, express gratitude to others. Say thank you more often, even for small gestures. Write appreciation notes or send texts to loved ones. Compliment someone genuinely every day. And the example here is John sends a quick text to his mother, thanking her for always supporting him, making her day brighter. Which, thanks, Mom, I appreciate you. Step 4, incorporate gratitude into routine activities. Practice gratitude during meals by acknowledging the effort behind your food. Reflect on one thing you're grateful for before bedtime, and associate gratitude with daily habits like brushing your teeth or commuting. And our example here is Sophia takes a deep breath and thinks of something positive each time she waits at a red light, which we all know that can be stressful. Step 5, shift perspective in challenging situations. Reframe difficulties by identifying lessons or silver linings. Focus on what you have rather than what you lack, and appreciate challenges as opportunities for growth. David faces a tough work situation, but shifts his mindset to see it as a chance to develop resilience and problem-solving skills. And the last step is reflect and adjust for improvement. And you would review your gratitude practice at the end of each week. Identify what works best and refine your approach, and celebrate progress and acknowledge the positive impact. Now, after a month of practicing gratitude, Lisa realizes she feels happier and more present. She decides to start sharing her reflections with family. So incremental improvements lead to lasting change. And that is, in a nutshell, what Kaizen is all about. You want to take your large goals and you want to break them down into small, manageable steps that, once you layer them on top of each other, act as stepping stones to create the big change you're looking for. And that is our presentation on Kaizen. So I'm going to stop here. and let's talk about our resolutions that we have and go from there. I know, Vanessa, you are looking to declutter your room, and I do have an action plan. I looked one up about decluttering a cluttered garage. So if you're looking for tips on working on that room, I can help you with that.
Okay. Yeah, you want to send them to me? Marcia has my contact info.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
It's all about taking time. Like, I can go through it right now, if you would like. Like, first thing you would do is you'd want to go through a walkthrough of your room and identify the cluttered areas.
The whole
Set your
wall.
clear goal. Yeah, you can see it all. And you want to set a clear goal, like, so you'd want to set, like, pick out, like, okay, for your room, like, I want to be able to put a desk here, or I would like to utilize this space more. And then you want to
Like a
allocate.
small sofa back there would be great, right?
Yeah,
Little
exactly.
sitting area. Yeah.
So then you want to allocate like a set amount of time daily to decluttering rather than, you know, an all-day effort. So break it down into smaller portions. So that would be your first.
One box at a time.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So then after you do that, you'd want to designate your 4 areas, like a keep, donate, trash, or relocate. So we begin with like a small section, like a shelf or a box, and then move any unnecessary items out of the room immediately.
Okay.
The next step, you would remove the trash and unused items. Discard broken or non-functional items first. Donate items in good condition that you don't want anymore, and then schedule a pickup or drop off for donations within the first week. Step 4 is organize by function. Group similar items together, like tools or holiday decorations. Use shelves, bins, and pegboards for better organization. Sorry, this is all like AI, which you can, if you use, have you ever used ChatGPT before?
No.
It's a wonderful tool and it's free.
Yeah.
We should have a little thingy on that one because I don't know that one either. So
Okay.
never mind.
Maybe, yeah, I mean, we could use that as well. It's an amazing tool. You type in a prompt, and here, I can actually pull it up right now.
I love it. We use it, I don't want to say all the time, but we use it for some specific things, and it's great. Some of the things that it comes up with, I'm like, oh my gosh, how did it come up with that?
It's incredible. Like, you can literally, I typed in create a Kaizen-based plan to clean a cluttered garage, and it came up with the steps, and then it's like, do you want me to go into more detail? And you can say yes, please, and it'll go into even more detail. And you can say, oh, can you adjust it to this, or I'm looking to donate here, or can you find an area in my, or like a donation spot in wherever I'm located, and it can do all of this for you. It's incredible. And I mean, it's not 100% accurate. You do need to check its work, but it's AI is the future. But yeah,
Will it tell you how to do a volcano?
Yeah. It will tell you how
That's
to do
the science project for Zoe, and I'm looking at it. You can buy the volcano kits. Well, we don't want to buy a volcano kit anyway.
It can
All
it'll
right.
tell you how to do a volcano. Don't, for volcanoes and projects like that, yes. Writing papers and research papers and stuff, you got to be careful with. That is the tricky part about schooling and chat GPT and AI, is that it'll write your paper for you 100%. And that is the danger that people are getting into. I don't want to turn this into a TED Talk about the dangers of AI, but you can give it a prompt and it'll write you a book report about Huckleberry Finn. And
yes. To piggyback on the dangers of that, though, I think a lot of schools have the capability of knowing whether it's AI generated or not now.
Yeah.
So,
but outside of school, it is a wonderful technique. None of us are in school. Well, Haley, you might be. But
I was about to say, I'm actually writing a research paper right now on how AI is beneficial.
or schoolwork. Yeah, as long as you're not directly copying it.
Oh no.
Yeah. And claiming it as your own. Again, I am not an expert at Kaizen. I was a presentation was given to me in at a physical theater graduate school about how we can use it in our personal lives, and I was like, oh, I was taught about it a little bit once, and I can explain it a little bit to you guys. So I did use AI to help me with this, admittedly.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah. But yes, it's a wonderful tool, and I highly suggest looking into it if you guys are stuck even in life and just need some help figuring out things like decluttering a room or building a volcano or anything. But yeah,
Where do you even find GPT chat? I don't know.
Chat GPT, Google. There's
Oh.
or it's chatgpt.com. There's a million
Okay.
AI. Twitter has it. I refuse to call it by its new name, but Twitter has it. Has one. It's called Grok.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can see the different generations.
So, I mean, I think like for me, one of my resolutions has been to try to lose weight. And it's a challenge. You get into like, oh, I'm busy. Oh, it's easier just to do this. So I started one of the meal delivery kits, and I'm like, I don't even want to cook. Cooking is like more than I can handle at the moment. It delivers breakfast, lunch, and dinner. A week at a time, you freeze it, you just pop it in the microwave. They're pretty good. I've been
Huh.
sending your photos, and it's like they're surprisingly good meals. Now, some of them are not, but the majority so far have been good. And for those that like to do the keto, they have a keto flex on the one I'm doing. So
Good for you.
I'm trying to lose
everybody-
weight as well.
well, we can, encourage each other because my sister and I try, and then we say, okay, let's cheat tonight, and then that happens a lot. But yeah, I'll send you the link to the one I'm using. I like it. But it's been less than a week, so ask me again in a few weeks.
Well, when I started Weight Watchers, I went out and I thought, well, it's gonna be like the Jenny Craig or wherever we order the meals, and probably something like that. I just went out and got the different frozen meals. And while I was adapting to a new eating style, if I was just, I couldn't stand it, I would eat those while I was learning, what are the free foods, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, and that worked out well. And I still have them in my freezer. If I've had a bad day, I can pop one of those
Well,
little in.
This particular one, like, I swear, I do not understand how you're supposed to lose weight eating the amount of food that they tell me I'm supposed to eat. I'm like,
Wow.
it's not possible. My sister
What
said,
program is this?
Bistro MD.
Oh, I heard about that. Okay.
I had not, and I was like, oh, that looks interesting. It does make you pay before you get to see what the meals are. So if you want, let me know, and I will show you the menu.
I like that. That's clever.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like to, sometime I like to see them. Just
yeah.
yeah.
Let me know. It's yeah. Like I said, so far you're good.
so a big thing with Kaizen and like a goal like losing weight is such a big, it's a huge monumental task. And like when you sit down and be like, I want to lose weight, there's so many facets and ways to do that. Like, right? There's movement and exercise is one way, eating healthy is another way. And that in itself is massive. But when you break it down into small steps, the most basic step is going on a walk, right? Or even breaking it down even that way, going outside. Like if the idea of going on a walk is too big, going outside. When I initially started it, it was presented to me like, if you can't get to the gym to go work out, if you have trouble getting there, the first step is just getting to the gym. And so the first step in your Kaizen plan should be getting up, driving to the gym. And that should be step one. Not even going in and working out, just getting to the gym. And once you drive there, Check. As long as you got to the gym, you don't have to go in, drove there, parked your car. All right, that's step one. You can drive home. Simple, right? Basic. You're not really losing weight, but that's the first part of the habit is getting up, getting in the habit of going to the gym, and then building on that. Now you're used to getting up and driving there. Now you got to go into the gym. That's the next part. And that's the whole concept behind it is small, and it doesn't matter how small the increments are, but you have to start building on that. And that's the philosophy behind Kaizen. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
With Weight Watchers, every 5 pounds is a celebration. You get a little charm for your, and I just love getting those little charms. I have a whole drawer full of them because I've been on Weight Watchers on and off for years. But it's motivating for me to get to that next 5 pounds. I was sad though when I got to 35, they stopped doing the every 5 pounds at 30. So I worked really hard for that 35. Anyway, but yeah,
That
I
is
like those
I don't know
little
why they stopped
rewards.
doing them.
You what?
Yeah, I after that I is also like, so what am I losing weight for? Yeah.
Yeah, well then
losing
it's
weight.
every 10, so now you need to go to 40, but I think it should be 10 in the beginning, and when it's harder at the end to motivate you. Anyway, I think it should be every 5 pounds, but whatnot.
Well, and honestly, I had a very similar experience where I started a new diet with my sister. God, it's been a few years now. Did great for like a year. And then you plateau. And it didn't matter if I ate healthy or not, I was stuck at that plateau. And then you get discouraged because it's like, what's the point? So you go off of the diet, then you're like, oh yeah, there is a point. And then you go back.
Well, see, I made goal. So now what am I doing? I had a jelly donut. I'm falling back into my old eating patterns. So I have to watch myself because that is, make goal, yay, for about a week. And then it's like jelly donut. So I have to weigh myself every morning and take my meds for every morning. So I can just see my weight going up and then grab one of those lean cuisine frozen meals. Anyway, it's a challenge. It's a, continuous battle. If you
And I
like to eat jelly donuts.
Well, and I think with Pompeii, like what I noticed is definitely, I think age plays into it for me because as I've gotten older, I've had more difficulty. But when I was very young, I had the reverse problem. I was very thin. And so I developed terrible eating habits because Marcia, you remember,
I know,
it was
yeah.
all about my mom helping me to pack on the pounds. And yay, I did, but it sort of, boomeranged as I got older, which my sister very much enjoyed. And so now it's unlearning all of those really bad habits.
Yeah,
But
Tiffany, I wanted to mention to you, a lot of the ladies talk about that too, as we're getting older. We're less active, and then everything, and the medicine, they say sometimes ERT does it. I'm not really convinced that that's the case, but I wanted you to kind of be aware of that. A lot of the women in our groups talk about that.
And yes, Wayne, you're absolutely right. Food is love. Growing up with an Italian mama. And to this day, so here, have a cookie, have a cookie. I'm like, no. Like, help me with this. Don't make it harder. Come on. But yeah, and then you have to give yourself room to have those cheat days and everything. But I think also, like, as I've gotten older and the weight has come on, it's also made physical activity more difficult. So where it was already difficult to exercise, it's now even harder. And I can't do the aerobic exercises, like others can to try to lose weight. Diet is pretty much where I have to focus in. So
The good news, bad news of that whole situation is you also can't work out a bad diet. So you could go to the gym every single day, but if you go home and eat burgers and chips and dessert and cookies and pastas and whatever, you're not going to lose the weight you wanted to lose anyway. So you can't work out a bad diet anyway. So when you
Might
get
as well
done,
start with
more
a diet.
important- yeah. So yeah, honestly, I mean, I go to the gym regularly. I love the gym. It's like almost like it's my me time, having 4 kids and being a wife and working and all the things going on. For me, sorry, I have dogs. So for me, going to the gym is like my me space. But I mean, I have weight to lose because my diet is not where it should be. As Tiffany said, we've got an Italian mother that lives next door and we get
Yeah.
I
fed.
wish going to the gym was my me space. I mean, geez,
My me space.
I'd be the one that would drive, park, and then
And
go
leave.
home.
Yep.
I'm
I
gonna,
have, and that's the other thing. I have found classes I like. So again, back to the Kaizen, which what was Matt was talking about. I actually wrote it down because it was like I was like, oh yes. Oh my gosh, what was it? It was I wrote it down. It was where he said to make the modifications. He was talking about the modifications. And it was like, okay, well, if something's not working, like if I only went to a step class, I probably wouldn't go back to the gym. So instead of saying like, oh, the gym's not for me, that class was terrible. And I hate step class. You will never find me in step. It's overwhelming and it's too much. So if I only did that, it wouldn't work. So making the modifications of like, okay, find the classes that you actually enjoy or find the machines you enjoy doing so that you actually do go.
Oh,
So if that was your New Year's resolution, go to the gym more. Well, go to the gym and tell yourself. And actually, when I first started going to the gym, it was after I had 2 kids and I'd never really been to the gym before. And a friend invited me. And then I just told myself, try a new class every single time. And I made myself a deal not to leave the class early. So do the class in its entirety, get the full feel for it, and then decide I'll never do that again.
Mhm.
Or, okay, that one was okay. I'll go again. Step, I wanted to actually kick the step across the room and say some bad words. So I was like, I will never go to that again. But I have found ones that now I'm like, oh, I don't want to miss that class because I love the way it makes me feel and it's great and blah, blah, blah. So
so
yeah.
were you the one that tried hot yoga or was that our cousin?
I have tried hot yoga. It was also horrible. And I got a man's sweat flung all over me.
Ooh.
And I will never, yeah, thank you. And I will
Yeah.
never do that again. His sweat touched me. I was done.
I
I'll never,
agree.
yeah. Again,
I
you will never
agree.
find me in a yoga.
Yeah.
I won't do yoga. It's not for me.
So, but
I do the
found
yoga, but not the hot one.
not the
I
hot
won't do
one.
any yoga. I've learned it's too slow for me. I like high energy. So I like to do
Never.
like the dance classes. I like to do the Zumba. I do that twice a week. And then I do a weights class twice a week just because I know I need weights and it's good for me. So I
You-
found one that I enjoy and I like and it's fine.
You also dislocated your doing that Zumba.
I did. That was a long time ago.
You dislocated what?
My knee.
Your knee.
I have,
from
Oh.
Zumba.
Worst
I
pain
used
ever.
I used to move my patella over to the side, like just for fun. And then my doctor was like, stop doing that. And I was like, well, why? It doesn't hurt. And she was like, you're loosening the ligaments on the side. Stop doing that. And then as an adult, I realized I did loosen them. And then when I was working out, there was no
Ah.
ligaments holding it in. And so it just popped right out. And that hurt really bad.
And
So I am extra careful when I work out. I baby my knee a little bit. Yeah, for
but
sure.
ironically, it gave her a better appreciation for what we go through as Pompeii patients.
Oh yeah, being in a wheelchair or crutches was the worst. I was like, Tiffany.
Were
Tiffany's
you
like,
able to
Much
walk
worse
on your
than
knee
Tiffany.
afterwards?
do
Were you-
what?
Were you able to? You weren't able to walk for a few days afterwards, right? After dislocating it.
Yeah, no.
So during horror nights, I wasn't on stilts at the time, but I was backstage and I just stood up and stepped out of sitting in a chair and I dislocated my knee, and I was back on stilts 2 days later. And they weren't gonna let me leave because I wasn't on set when I dislocated my knee, but worst pain I've ever experienced in my life. Oh,
It was bad. Yep, it was bad.
terrible.
Yes.
Oh.
Yep.
So I would say for me, what's helped with maintaining an exercise program is that she comes to me.
Yeah.
And so it's much harder to like check out and say, oh, I'm not gonna go. Because
And she's knocking on your door. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yes. And so that has made a big difference because for years I went to a gym and I did the same thing over and over again. But then stuff happened, I stopped going.
And getting
then-
there is hard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's-
she dragged you out of the last staff meeting before
Yeah,
it was
she's like,
over.
hey, it's time. So that has been very helpful to me that she comes to me and so I don't have the easy out.
And that's
Matt-
the support system that we were talking about. Yeah.
Matt, I do have a question. Does Kaizen have anything about excuses?
Excuses. What do you mean?
Excuses, like for somebody who is, like, let's say, let's use the gym as an example. Somebody who might want to use Kaizen to check their excuses, because we all have excuses. We can't do this, we can't do that, we can't blah, blah, blah. So for some, and I've heard these before, like for going to the gym, it's like, well, I can't afford a gym membership. I can't afford a personal trainer. And it's like, okay, but there's also, like you said, just go outside and go for a walk. Or a lot of parks now around the area have actual workout machines.
Mhm.
So I wonder if there's like a part of that too, where it's like
Hold
getting
yourself
out of
in
your
front
own
of it.
head, or maybe it's just that first small step of what can work.
So Kaizen does not really solve personal accountability. So that's more of an accountability issue. And
Okay.
yeah, no. So people are going to make excuses, and
All
that
the time.
yeah. And I'm that is my biggest flaw, is that I will talk myself. If I can find a way to talk myself out of something, I will.
You will.
And that, yeah. And unfortunately, I have not found a way to implement Kaizen into a way to
Fix
combat
that.
that. Yeah. So a big thing, and I've noticed with Japanese culture, is they're big on self-discipline. And if you don't have self-discipline, Kaizen may not work for you. So you do have to have discipline to make Kaizen work, because it is all about incremental improvement and being accountable to yourself. Or
Well, you could use the motivation, like you said, like if you're treat motivated or if you have
Yeah.
some sort of motivation. I mean, like you said, maybe just doing one small thing and then telling yourself, well, I got there, so I can do this now. Or I'm going to
Yeah.
treat myself to,
or
an
the
extra
support
coffee or
system.
whatever
Like-
for,
Like Tiffany was saying,
Maybe that's enough.
having Coach K come to her, if she knows that she is someone that will find an excuse not to work out, having Coach come to her is a way to mitigate that.
Yes.
So there is, I mean, if you know that you will find a way to not do it, you just have to know yourself. But no, there's not that I know of anything built into Kaizen that way.
I did I made some notes and I put little hearts that I did want to tell you based on your presentation. The 5 S's, pretty much just being prepared, planning, and then that to me stood out as like no excuses. If you plan it into your day that you want to drink more water, have less caffeine, go to the gym, eat healthier, whatever. And then I also put a heart by change what's not working. Like if something's not working. And then I even made like a little note because this year I told myself that I was going to, I actually started it last year. But this year I've gotten a little bit more committed to it and doing the like, well, no excuses. Because I have kids and I work multiple jobs and I have all these things going on in bus pickups and sports and all the things. But I told myself that I wanted to read my Bible more.
Mhm.
So I had it originally on my desk. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just take 10, 15 minutes to read before I go and and I was trying to schedule that time, like before I have to go to the bus pickup, before I have to take them to gymnastics, before they go to dance. And then I was like, okay, I was finding myself, the alarm's already going off that I've got to leave. And so I felt like, I was like, oh, I feel like I already changed what was not working by handling the setbacks because I took my Bible and put it in the car. And so then I was like, okay, well, I'm sitting there anyway. I'm just going to scroll my phone, right? So I was like, instead of scrolling my phone, waiting for that 10 minutes for the bus, because I try to get there a little bit early. And then my first son's bus comes at like 3:40. My next one doesn't come till 4:15. So I have time. And so I
Yeah.
was like, instead of just sitting here staring at my phone or just blah, 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 I've been making that time and so I made that adjustment.
Yeah.
And
that's
then I
part
like,
of, sorry, go
Oh.
ahead.
oh, I was just going to say, I also like that you said choose one habit to not overwhelm yourself. Don't do too much. If you're adding too much, you're just going to probably make your brain explode. Oh, and I liked that you also said, and I hadn't thought about this before until you mentioned it, anchoring a habit to something you already do.
Yeah.
So I'm going to look and see how I can implement that. I may get back to you on it. But that was smart. I liked that, anchoring to something you already do.
I'm glad
Um,
that you said that, Andrea, because reading my Bible is actually one of my goals for this year too. And you're right. Like I've been to so many places and so many Bible studies and churches, and like I realized over the past like maybe a year and a half, and I'm like, you're right. We make up excuses to why we can't do things. Like, oh, I have to go here at this time, so I have to get ready at this time, and it's just like so. I haven't done as well with it as I wish I would, or as I wish I was doing.
yeah.
I was doing really good at the beginning of the year. It was like New Year, like I'm gonna like try to do it, and then about a week after the New Year, I like started to like fall off, and I'm like, great, but yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because that's one of my goals for this year too.
And
Yeah.
honestly,
Yeah, I
that's
love that.
the reason Matt suggested waiting till mid-February for the call, because, this is when we're more likely to be less committed to our goals. I mean, and I really like the comment about accountability with others. I know my sister and I do that when we're tempted to make bad food choices.
You're
Well,
not always happy though when I'm
definitely.
mean to you and tell you don't make bad choices.
Of course not. But I listen, so
But we need it.
accountability.
Yes, we need it. 'Cause we're not.
So yeah, I think that definitely helps, and not. Matt, you said something, I don't write notes as well as she does, but about, don't like do the quick cold turkey type thing, do it in steps. Don't completely deprive yourself, because then it makes it that much harder to stay with the habit.
Yes.
And Luke has his hand raised.
Hey, I'm not trying to interrupt anything. But one of the things that I think is prudent for anyone is to treat every day like New Year's Eve. Because there's no reason why you can't form a new habit on February 19th. You don't have to wait for a new year. The new year is just a man-made timetable anyway. It really means nothing in my view.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm actually writing that down. That was really good. You're right. There's nothing magical about December 31st to January 1st.
And see, you're giving her all this inspiration for new Instagram posts.
Yeah, no, that was really good. Yeah, you're right.
Now, I've got a very important question. How do you use Kaizen to stop accepting strays that your niece finds?
What was that? I missed that.
I now have 5 dogs. Dogs 4 and 5 were rescues that my niece found, and my sister said no.
So Tiffany, I'm going to tell you, I think that you should ask Kaizen and use the ChatGPT. And Marcia, I'm so sorry I couldn't get on when you were asking, like, how do you find ChatGPT? If you literally open Safari and put in CHAT, the first thing that comes up now is ChatGPT.
Okay.
And you can ask it questions. Again, I have been very against AI just because it makes me nervous. Like, I think
It is
Makes
scary.
me
it
nervous.
scares
It
me.
is scary.
It's scary, but
It's cool
back
though.
to like reading my Bible, when I need clarity, I'm like, ChatGPT. I'm like, what is this telling me? And it just breaks it down. This is what it's telling you, and this is what it's saying. But and then I'm like, I'm having all this insight. And then I'm like, well, darn it, ChatGPT, you're good.
Mhm.
You're good. So Tiffany, I
It
think
can
that you
be,
should.
It can be. I don't like ChatGPT at all. But as an artist, it, AI is really not good for my line of work, and I see
Very
it popping up more and more.
It makes me nervous. But
Some
Tiffany, I
people
think you.
are
Go ahead.
using AI and not utilizing artists in their community, and
Yes.
the artwork and the creative work is starting to be automated, and I obviously have many reasons for not liking that.
Yeah.
I
Agreed.
agree with you. I completely agree with you. One of my favorite quotes is creativity is intelligence having fun. And I feel like with Chat GPT, people aren't using their intelligence for creativity and coming up with something completely unique and original. And they are using it to just create something just boop. And it's not authentic. It's not real.
But it has its place as long as it's
It
not
does.
art.
Yeah.
But Tiffany, I think maybe your Kaizen should be learning to say no.
It should be. Yeah. You need to learn to say yes more often though.
Oh no, I'm mean. The answer is no.
Oh, it's so
But-
hard. Those
but-
little puppies.
I know. And I have a
Right.
daughter who I swear she's like, what is the Disney princess that has all the animals? The animals just come to her. Is that Aurora?
Right.
Snow White.
No
Could be
way.
Snow White.
One
Yeah.
of them. I swear that's her.
Yeah. But she's also very
Like
much
they just
a mother.
gravitate to her. She was sitting up at the gate the other day, just like getting some air and getting out, like we were talking about. Like just she was like, I want to go for a walk. So she went for a walk. She found a cat on the walk.
Yeah.
And we took it in one night because I was like, you know what, it's cold. Like let's take it in. But I said, you know, it probably belongs to somebody in this neighborhood. It just walked up. I said, so let it back out and let it go back to its home. But yeah, they just walk up to her. So learn to say no, Tiffany.
Yeah. Birds used to fall at my mom's feet, like literally fell at her feet.
Yeah, that did really
Your
used to
mom
happen.
has
Yeah.
the greatest stories.
Well, now Alyssa is contributing to the encyclopedia.
Yes. And Matt, I also wanted to tell you that one of my New Year's resolutions this year was to organize my home better.
Okay.
So I feel like I kind of implemented Kaizen without even realizing I was doing it because I didn't know about it until you brought it up. But I have done like where you said identify waste and like what's not needed. And we don't need to just hold on to things that we don't use or need or want or just, you know. So when I'm organizing in my home, I try to do that. I try to go through things, and just because it's there and I once liked it, I don't need to keep it and hold on to clutter just because, you know, I once liked it.
Mhm.
So I keep things that are special to me or then have a special meaning, like maybe my mom or my dad gave it to me, something like that.
Mhm.
But I also made, and I just made a list on my phone, but I wrote down every room in my house. And then I've just kind of told myself, I'm just going to tackle one room at a time. And I've kind of been going back to that list and going, okay, what's the next most important one on my list?
Add my house to your list, please.
And yeah, I'm trying. My goal still is that by the time I get to New Year's Eve or Christmas this year, that I can be like, oh my gosh, all of the rooms got checked off.
Mm.
So Vanessa, my sister's great at helping you get rid of stuff. Like
Oh, yeah.
she's brutal. She went through my closet and she laughed at stuff and said, yeah, no, yeah, no, yeah, no. So a lot of stuff went to Goodwill that week.
Well, and you had the problem of holding on to something because you liked it and it was cute and you once wore it a lot.
And it was sentimental, but yes,
And
okay.
she was like, well, I liked it. I wore that one a lot. It's a cute shirt. And I was like, okay, does it fit you now? Is it ever going to fit you again?
Oh,
No,
good.
get rid of it.
Yeah.
Get rid of it. Goodbye.
But I was glad to keep some for sentimental reasons.
Yes. Yes. Like I have the dress that I wore when Warren proposed to me, and that was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, does it fit right this second? No. No.
But it will actually be back in style in not too many more years.
But it's sentimental to me, and I wore it on one of our anniversaries. I don't remember which one now, but. So yes, there are.
Did
the
he
sweet ones.
remember that was the dress you wore?
Mhm.
Did you tell him, or did he remember?
He remembered. Yeah.
See, I don't think John would remember what I had on.
Yeah, he remembered.
Huh.
I don't know how he remembered, but he did.
Well, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was really sweet.
Well,
So, before this meeting, Tiffany had asked me if I not only would sign on, but if I thought of anything along the way to weigh in on. And another thing, everything I'm saying is I'm no expert in this. Take everything with a very big grain of salt. But one of the things that helps me, we all know the saying, treat others as you would want to be treated yourself. But I think the reverse is also true. If you are going to treat others with grace, if they make a mistake, or if they fall off about something, then you can also treat yourself with that same amount of grace.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Very-
It's absolutely right.
We do tend to treat ourselves a bit more harshly than we treat other people.
Mhm. Yes, I've recently seen some things where it says, you know, would you say that to your best friend? Would you say that to your sister? Would you say that to your daughter? Why are you saying it to yourself?
Mhm.
And it's like, if you're extending that grace, like Lucas said, if you're extending that grace, then give it to yourself too.
And
Put it in
of
the mirror.
course, within reason.
Yes,
Within reason.
yes.
It's not a carte blanche grace
No,
period.
no. Yes, definitely have parameters on your life.
Well,
But yes,
this has been a really great discussion. I mean, I know I've learned a lot from it, and I'm going to be using Kaizen to make a dent in my desk that I will not show anybody because even with grace, it's quite embarrassing. So that will be my project for the week.
Excellent. Just remember, small steps.
Mhm.
Don't get overwhelmed, and guilt. Do not beat yourself up. If you fall off the wagon, get back on it, reassess, look at what works, look at what doesn't, plan, reassess, get back on it. That's all I can
yes,
say.
absolutely. That was
Yes.
great, Matt. Like truly,
you.
thank you for sharing all that. It was a good thing to hear toward the end-ish of February.
And just so everybody knows, it will be available, the presentation on Facebook. And Matt, Dwayne asked if you could include the slide deck also.
Yeah.
So I already said yes for you. I figured you wouldn't have a problem with that.
Absolutely.
So, thank you, everybody. I think this is another great talking with your Pompeii peeps.
Thank you, everyone.
See y'all
Thank you.
soon.
I'm
Have a
gonna
good
go.
one.
I'm gonna go watch it snow some more.
Uh,
Enjoy.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.